It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
I got the feeling the fear. My city is crabs in the barrel. I learned to get back through the signs of the trials and the errors. Computer my life with the errors. I step like the Greek with no guidance, applying the errors. You niggas are not in my era. I was on that like Cronus. Put sand and get pressed like Kotex. I'm a black star with my squad like Most Def. Reign supreme, my face card like Maybelline. My dog used to push white like saving cream. These little niggas from the land of the Maybelline. You like to dance, have fun, try to shake the beam. God is my witness, they know that I'm flawed, but I got not folding to y'all. Set up the stage and I kill it, I'm going to war. Nobody can fuck with these bars. Roam through the land like seas. I'm drawing out a plan like Egypt, sowing my seed. Better y'all grow in season. I be going hard, no reason. Say la vie. One life, I got land to seize. Niggas might think I'm a Pharisee. This is my therapy. I do not care to please. Catch them out of Linux, on me, don't wanna square with me. Whoa. Better teach your man how to squabble. Rap money, but to fly me out of Cabo. Dedicated 1/4 to the game, boy. I got a shit bucket like a nigga hit the lotto. Backstage, pulling plays on the phone, baby girl trying to hit me with a slot like Nevada. Let me introduce you to my new model. Finna push these niggas off me like, push these niggas off me like, push these niggas off me like,
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be getting into Young Thug and a portion of his conversation on stream with Aiden Ross. Now, these videos, I think, hit the scene on like a day or two ago. But, of course, we've been consumed with the Cardi and Nicki back and forth. So that pretty much took over the timeline, took over the conversation. But now we could get to Young Thug for just a little second. And we're not going to cover much of the conversation. There's a couple of key points that I want to get to. Number one being the segment where he compares Kendrick Lamar to Drake and their careers and who's number one and who's doing better. That piece, we're going to cover that. And I also want to talk about a piece in the conversation where he says that he probably will not be doing music for too much longer. He is basically eyeing retirement, which I find to also be very interesting. Y'all, please excuse my son in the background. But we're going to get to this content. All right. So in the clip here, it says Young Thug compares Drake and Kendrick Lamar's impact in hip hop. He says, I got to say Drake, he did more, put more people on, and he got more numbers. Numbers-wise, statistically, an impact on the culture and impact on the world. He says Kendrick got a huge impact. He for sure number one in life. He is the GOAT of the whole West Coast. Well, I don't know. I'd probably say Nipsey. But numbers-wise, Kendrick Lamar is the GOAT of the West Coast. Here's a quick glimpse into them having that conversation.
Drake or Kendrick? Like, who the best?
That's what he's saying, yeah.
I gotta say Drake.
Oh shit!
He just did more. He put more people on. Not saying that Kendrick didn't put nobody on, but Drake just did more.
Here we go with the putting on. Y'all know when he was behind bar, that nigga say, hey man, put a nigga on, man. You came up, put up 100, 200 M's, man. You ain't put nobody on, man. You couldn't do no feature with me, wham. All these niggas, man, come on, man. Man, watch out. So here, he kind of retracts a little bit because remember, he said he wasn't putting nobody on. He says, I'm not gonna say he ain't putting nobody on. But in his eyes, he feels that Drake did more. I'm gonna run that back just a tad.
Not saying that Kendrick didn't put nobody on, but Drake just did more. He put more people on and he got more numbers.
Shaq, what about what were you saying?
You know, statistically, number-wise, statistically, impact on the culture, impact on the world. Kendrick Lamar got a hell of an impact. He for sure number one ever in life. Could possibly come out of LA.
Right.
Nobody in LA could never ever be bigger than him.
That's crazy. No, you're right.
He the GOAT of the whole West Coast. He the GOAT of the whole West Coast for sure. Well, I don't know. I probably say Nipsey, but number wise,
I like Nipsey better.
Shit, acting up.
I like Nipsey better too, but I think number wise, Kendrick Lamar beat him. And Kendrick Lamar, Drake or Kendrick, like.
Now, of course, we know Young Thug is biased, heavily biased. Even in the Nipsey portion of the talk, he's biased because, you know, there was a time period when Nipsey Hussle was spending a lot of time out here in Atlanta. And during that time period where he was in Atlanta, he was specifically in the studio working with Young Thug. You know what I mean? Like heavy. We talking mixtape days, like before he got with Atlantic and put out Victory Lap, what the Marathon Continues era. That nigga was out in Atlanta quite frequently. All right. So I think everything that came out of Young Thug's mouth is biased based on the fact of Drake and Nipsey being people who heavily, you know, developed a relationship with him, whether it be beneficial, whether it be mutually beneficial, whatever it is, he was able to um, extract resources and impact out of these two. Do I feel like Drake is not impactful at all? That would be crazy to say. You know what I'm saying? His music was definitely uh, as far as hip hop music could have possibly went, as far as rap music could have possibly went. You know what I mean? It went in terms of volume, in terms of him dropping every summer, in terms of the radio, in terms of staying on tour, in terms of you know, collaborations. He probably has one of the most expansive collaborative catalogs in music. You know, whether you believe it was for his own benefit or not, whatever the case may be, I understand someone who might say that, right? Now, I do disagree when he says impact on the culture. I think the culture and the industry are two very different things. I believe that Drake made a tremendous impact on the music industry. I believe that he made a big impact in terms of the club once he linked with the Atlanta artists, the Futures, the Thugs, the Whams, the Lil Baby that would be, the Migos, all of them. They gave him validity in the clubs, in the places where, you know, more of the black people hang out and convene and commiserate and have a good time. The strip clubs, you know, getting with them definitely put his music in that sphere. You know what I'm saying? But when you say the culture, it's beyond just the clubs, beyond just the radio and stuff like that. I believe Kendrick definitely had more of a cultural impact, especially when we saw what you could do with All Right being a protest anthem. Not Like Us was even a protest anthem in South Africa, in other regions of the world, where they're facing oppression and using that as a song to give them confidence and feel empowered. So I think their music hits definitely very differently in terms of the cultural spectrum. Not to mention the content in Kendrick's music is culturally adept. It actually speaks on the black experience in America and beyond. If you listen to Pimp a Butterfly, the whole entire album is pretty much about him endeavoring to go to Africa. I believe he was in, what was it, Ghana? And taking in the cultural lessons from the diaspora that he was able to bring back home to Compton. But while he was doing these things and touring the world and learning customs and culture outside of America, his homies, his childhood friends, his loved ones were still going through the same old shit back home. And he was trying to bridge the gap between those two worlds. So ain't no way you could say that Drake has more cultural impact in his music, because where is the culture in his actual music? Right? And I'm just being completely real. This isn't, some may say this comes from a biased place. No. Right? And RIP to Nipsey Hussle, who I genuinely wish we would have been able to see where he was going to go next after that victory lap run, after, you know, we had already seen him like on his come up and the culmination of everything that album represented. I would have loved to have seen what he was going to do in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? Especially he was on the precipice of some technological advances with the marathon store and all that type of shit, you know? And when you break things down statistically, there's not that much of a difference between Drake and Kendrick Lamar if we're being completely honest, especially in 2025. The milestones that seemed to be distant at once upon a time are not so distant today. Now, for the other piece, Young Thug says he doesn't see himself releasing many more projects, partly due to recent events. He says, I got so much stuff going on, I want to be like Jay-Z. The reason we was all making so much good ass music is because we was all one. So this also harkens back to what I was saying about Young Thug being in the sunken place about a week ago, because I said, you know, his creativity has dwindled. You know, him being alone, him having to create music on his own, not having the energy of his homies, not having the energy of Gunna, not having the energy of, you know, being legally able. I won't even say legally able, but he's legally barred at this point of his life. If he's caught with drugs at this point, he'll be violating probation and then he'll have to be going back to jail, right? But at the peak of his career, what he was doing, he was heavily under the influence, right? So when you take those crutches away from him, how strong is your musical output when it's just up to you and your own mind without being controlled by your vices or the people you're around, right? And I can say that because there's a lot of people who create isolated, you know, don't like people in the studio. There's a lot of people, especially in the independent circuit, who are creating music in a setting like where I am right now, you know what I mean? Which I create my music in this very seat. But what's your creativity like when it's just left to you and the music? And we see with this new project, the direction he went doesn't seem to be all that great. All right, so here's the clip.
About the entire music, you don't think you're gonna drop a lot more projects left?
I don't think so. I got just so much more stuff going on.
You want to do, yeah.
Yeah, I want I want to just like dig into my clothing brand more. I got a sport agency. B's a part of it.
Nice.
You know, I want to dig into that. I want to get into that more. Just, you know, more shit. I want to be like Jay-Z. I don't want to be like.
You want to get into way more different avenues and in
Because you can't
your
rap
in your
forever.
space. Yeah, true. Well, you know, it makes me think. It's like, bro, you've been fucking making music forever.
My internet is bullshitting. Hold on, y'all.
Think it's like, bro, you've been fucking making music forever since I was a kid, and it's just like, for me, it's like, damn, because like, I mean, I hear hearing it, but I understand now exactly what you're saying because you've done so much. Does anything that has happened in the past month or two, does that affect your passion for music? Like, honestly, like,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why do you think that affects it?
Because you like, it's not like the reason why we was making so much good ass music and it was just like so fun is because we was all one.
All right. And who the fuck bedroom is that, man? Is that a fucking 17-year-old bedroom? What the hell? Anyway, I already said my piece on Young Thug, you know what I mean? Going in white face on an album cover and it not being received well. He literally came out and put a tweet out talking about something. I don't think I'm connecting with the people that I'm supposed to be connecting with. The feedback on the album, the intro to the album, Ninja, with him using the hard ER, all the bullshit that he did, all of the antics, all of the, you know, he claims he put $50,000 up to stop the calls and all this stuff from coming out, from further, I guess, making him look bad. You know, he's just in a bad spot. And I don't necessarily see him being able to crawl his way up out of it because he didn't have as strong of a connection with the culture as he thought he did to begin with. You know what I mean? When he was on them calls talking about Kendrick and he like, I'm a superstar. And I know y'all thought that shit was hilarious with him calling himself a superstar. He had to find out the hard way that he in fact is not a superstar. You know what I mean? He hasn't reached those heights. He didn't have those pop crossovers. He didn't have those moments that etched him into history. He was just an artist of the time. And although he excelled and he was able to propel others, and his personal impact on other people's lives in Atlanta can't be undermined or downplayed, he was just an artist of the time. And it seems like that time is ticking down to an end, and he's now saying he doesn't see himself making music very much longer. He says he wants to evolve and be like a Jay-Z. But how do you evolve and become such a figure like that when you don't have the type of foundation that Jay-Z had? You know what I mean? Jay-Z was wildly successful even before his so-called retirement from music and evolving as a businessman. And we saw his business ventures even while he was an artist. When you saw Jay-Z getting into the liquor business and it actually was being taken serious with the Armadale shit, which they say tasted like fucking rubbing alcohol at one point. But that was a thing. Like once they said fuck Cristal and they did that, they did Rockaware. They sold Rockaware off for a multi-million-dollar deal. We saw those ventures happen in real time, and he introduced something that, for the most part, hasn't really been duplicated since. And I don't mean to speak on Young Thug's intelligence, but it seems to me that he is far less evolved than a Jay-Z to try to take on that same mantle, right? I would say he's heading more in the direction of a Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne has a sports agency, Young Money Sports, and somehow he's actually got a few athletes under the mantle that are under the Young Money Sports direction. Now, does Lil Wayne manage the day-to-day operations of that company? Of course not. It's just under his trademark. He owns it, and he's got established agents and stuff that are under there that manage the athletes. But I could see you doing that. Young Money Sports isn't like no colossal thing, but it's got some people on it, nonetheless. I'm not going to downplay that either. So, yeah, I guess we won't be getting too many more of those White Man Scooty albums from Young Thug because he is now eyeing the exit. Okay? Wish you all the best on your journey back to the skies, UY Scooty and all those things. But, yeah, let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share the video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there, man. Peace.
Yeah, family over fame in this bitch, yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I can do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy cause consulting for the stacks I built. I had to